and living with nature in itself is an experience. I mean, it's not about just clicking pictures with beautiful backdrops. It is sitting there and spending time. One is the experience of living in a local house. So living in a mud house, people living in cities don't have access to it, and they've lost their ancestral houses also, which were actually used to be made of mud, wood, stone. So we are just trying to return to the roots. There's nothing new.
Hi friends, welcome to Change Started, to our series Change Trails. Many of us love to travel. We like to go on a vacation or go on a weekend getaway. However, do we realize the impact of our travel? While going on a vacation provides tremendous economic benefits and jobs to the people where we go, but there are environmental repercussions of our travel as well. How can we avoid that? How can we become more responsible tourists? To answer these questions, we have Prerna Prasad. She is the founder and CEO of Ecoplore, a company that promotes sustainable tourism. Welcome, Prerna.
Thank you, Varun. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Prerna, I want you to demystify sustainable tourism, because it is a word which is being recently used. A lot of people are using this word. So let us explain what is sustainable tourism.
People, planet, profit. These three words are very, very frequently used with sustainable tourism. And United Nations has actually used these words to define sustainable tourism. And personally, when in this last 5 years of my journey of working on sustainable tourism, I realized that yes, these are the perfect three words which can be used to define it. So people basically, a tourism is sustainable when the local people where you're visiting are benefited out of the entire activity. So they are benefited economically, they are benefited in the way that they gain knowledge and they get exposure by interacting with the tourist. And there's no exploitation. There's exposure, but not exploitation. Planet is, of course, the core of sustainability. So any tourism which is sustainable has to have less number of carbon emissions, has to adopt measures which are kept or which are built keeping planet into consideration, and the planet should be in focus while doing the entire tourism. The third, profit. So the word sustainable, it has another meaning that it should sustain on its own. So the profit here means that the tourism which we are doing, for example, as a company, if I'm leading a sustainable tourism company, the company should sustain on its own. It should not be a not-for-profit work or a philanthropy. So I think these are the three words which define sustainable tourism.
There is a word called ecotourism. So are these two words same, or there is a difference to it?
They're used as a synonym. So sustainable tourism, ecotourism are used as a synonym. There's not much of a difference. However, sustainable tourism is a more is the right word, you can say, or is a proper word to define this industry. Ecotourism is actually connecting environment and tourism. Here we are also including the people. We are also including the profit part of it.
So how can we become a responsible tourist? So that is my next question.
I think the first step is to think that you want to become a responsible tourist. So that is the first biggest step. If one has taken that step of being conscious about their decisions, choices, then of course there's a range of way to deal with it. In a tourism, there are 2-3 major parts. First is travel. How do you reach the destination which you have chosen? So as a tourist, if you go for public transport, if you choose trains over planes, if you choose public buses over your private cars, that's the first step to start with. Electric vehicles are yet not in scene, but when they are there, for local transportation, electric vehicles are the best thing to go for. Second is, where are you going to stay? So stay is one of the most important aspect of sustainable tourism, because you actually have a lot of choices there. You have a variety of options to choose from, and they are luxury hotels, they are average concrete hotels, they are sustainable hotels. So we actually got the carbon emission measured by a European organization about the emissions which are done by hotels, and we wanted to measure the emission of sustainable hotels which we promote. So they figured out that eco hotel, which is promoted by Ecoplore, emits 9 kg per room per night, while average Indian hotel emits 75 kg per room per night, and a luxury hotel emits 1000 kg per room per night. So that is the huge level of difference in the emission. So how do you decide whether the hotel you're choosing is sustainable or not? So like in our case, we figured out, because this took me a lot of time to decide that how will the user say that, okay, yes, this hotel which I'm staying in is sustainable, because I can claim and tell him that, okay, go and visit this place, it is sustainable, or maybe put some labels, put some ratings, put some certifications. But that is again my research and my study. The user should be able to decide. So for a user, we figured out two criteria. One, that any hotel which has at least 30% tree coverage inside their campus. Second, that the hotel should be made of local architecture. So made of mud, wood, bamboo, stone, or it could be a heritage building. No cement and brick construction. So any hotel which has these two things, we only will work with them. And then we decided to go into their details, that what are the other measures like rainwater harvesting, solar panel, composting, waste management, many others. And then we visited, verified, that's separate. But for a user, when they visit any of our hotels, they can differentiate between a regular hotel and a concrete hotel. So that's another aspect. The third one is food. So if you're going, suppose, to Ladakh and you want to eat pizza, so it's not the local food of Ladakh. So that is the most absurd way if a tourist does that. Or if suppose you are going to, for example, Kodaikanal and you want to eat dal makhani or chole, that's not the local food of that area. So eating the local food, which is locally grown, locally sourced, it reduces a lot of emission in the transportation of that food, and also in a lot of other things. And you need to have people who know how to cook that, chefs, and a lot of other logistic things. But having local food, because food is of course a very important part of tourism. Then it is activities. So you go for sightseeing, you go for different visits. When you actually make your travel slow, so the concept of weekend getaway, where people take their car, they book a hotel for a night, and they come back after so they only stay for one night, they come back in 2 days. So it's a 2-day, 1-night holiday. Now, there are several reasons why weekend getaways are in demand, but this is anti-sustainable, like it's completely non-sustainable, because slow travel is the best way to actually be a sustainable traveler or a responsible traveler. Suppose if I want to go to Uttarakhand and I keep on visiting for 2 days every month, then how much pollution am I doing by my transport? So, or if I just visit there for 1 month, I stay there for 1 month, and although a lot of logistic people cannot do it, and there are other reasons for it, but if we can still try. Maybe we can't do it 100%, we can do it 20%. So slow travel is one of the most important element in becoming a sustainable traveler.
Cool. Awesome. So those are like, one is travel, second is where you are staying, third is the food, and fourth is the activities, right? And probably we can also include aspects like carrying a water bottle, basic stuff,
Yeah,
like
those are small things. Yes.
small things, I believe, can also help, and respecting the local culture as well. I mean, when we are going, we should respect the local culture of that place, right? So thanks, Prerna. So let us know about your journey before you started Ecoplore.
I was a journalist.
Oh.
I started my career with CNN, IBN, worked with India Today and some international media organizations for around 8 years. That was my professional career, you can say, before becoming an entrepreneur. And at the same time, I was also involved in activism with the Anna Hazare movement. And I was also a part of Aam Aadmi Party for some time. So till 2015, I was doing all this. And then I was disillusioned with all the three things that I was doing in my life. And I realized I need to work on environment, because this was one field at that point of time hardly anybody was working on. And if we don't have fresh air and pure water, every other thing which we are trying to accomplish is worthless. So, yeah.
So when did this idea came to you? What was the inspiration behind this idea, and what year was this?
So the idea came to me when I was on a holiday to Malaysia, in Malaysia actually. And as I mentioned that I was working in journalism, doing activism, politics. And then I realized, no, I'm not fit for any of these three. So one fine day, I just resigned from my last job. And I had this thing in my mind that I will not do a job ever again, although I didn't know that what am I going to do. So for 4 months, I was sitting at home and trying to figure out what to do now. And we decided to go on a holiday to Malaysia. And for 1 month, it took me 1 month just to find out 5 to 6 hotels for our 10 days of holiday. And I wanted to visit only eco-friendly stays, because that was my choice even in India. In India, it was easy for me because I belong to this country. In Malaysia, I did not have any knowledge about that place. So it took me a lot of time to figure that out. But when I visited those eco hotels, the experience was mind blowing. There was like one stay which had these big size insects, but they were so beautiful that for the first time in my life, I liked insects. There was a place where it was just on the beach, and it was made out of a recycled pipe, these pipes which are used in drainage system. So they had a bed, like they had revamped it, and they had a bed inside it. So you sleep, you get out, and there's a beach in front of you, sea in front of you. So there were very interesting architectures and very interesting experiences. So that's where I figured out that let me go back and try to aggregate all the hotels which are like this in India.
So what year was this, Prerna?
This was 2016 April.
Oh, awesome. So it's like 6 years now that you have been running this startup, right?
Yes.
So how did you identify at first hotels? What did you, what was the process like? I mean, you went to that hotel, checked the details, or was it like online research?
So it was a very interesting journey. So actually, when I came back, I decided that, okay, let me first do a research on whether any other platform like this exists or not within India and even outside India. Because if they do, then why do I need to do something repetitive? So I traveled for it. I did all kind of theoretical research, all kind of researches I was doing. And I kept on traveling and trying to understand what is sustainable tourism or what is ecotourism, and how can we actually, how can the user decide? So that criteria, deciding that criteria was something which took me almost 1.5 years. And actually the first hotel which we onboarded was something which I had visited during my second trip in life. So that was in 2000, I think 10 or 11, which I just casually went for my holiday and nothing of this purpose. And it is still our best-selling property, and the most ideal eco stay, which has local ownership, which is profitable, and which has all the hardcore sustainable measures. So it fulfills all the three things in the best manner. And it is close to Delhi also. It's in Jim Corbett, but a very unique property there, run by the locals. So that was one. Second, I started visiting different parts of the country because I wanted to make sure that the criteria should apply throughout, like it should be pan-India. So I visited Auroville. Auroville was a very interesting journey. Then I visited Gujarat, West Bengal, North India. Northeast is something I still need to go, but apart from Northeast, I had covered like some place or the other in all the parts. And it took me almost 1.5 years to first zero down upon these two criteria, and then we started working.
So you are an aggregator of all the eco hotels, at least currently existing in the country. I mean, whatever. So can you tell us? You alluded to it, but can you elaborate a little more on the criteria which you see in a hotel, or is it? I mean, and also, is it only the hotels or homestays and luxury hotels and like other kind of properties which are available? So tell us more about it.
Yeah, so for us, there's no barrier. We take homestays, we take hotels, we take luxury hotels, we take boutique properties, budget hotels, camps, tents, everything. So there's no, that's why it took me, like, you won't believe, we switched so many words: eco stays, eco hotels, green hotels. I don't know, because we are not able to figure out what to say, what to call to these properties, because we include everything. Secondly, the common mark, what is there among all the properties, is these two mandatory criteria. One, that 30% greenery. Second, it should be local architecture or heritage building. Now, any hotel which meets these two criteria, we get into their details. What are the other measures they are fulfilling? So other measures are like rainwater harvesting, solar panel, composting, waste management, many others, and it varies from location to location. So that's not mandatory, it's optional. Then we will see, like most of our properties, they have their own vegetable garden. They grow their own fruits. They have a lot of them grow spices. They have herbs, and they also do farming. Like not everybody, but yes, whichever has, depending on the location, they do farming also. So that is another. So growing your own food is another important element of our sustainable hotels. Activities. Now, why do you need to hire a taxi or take your car and move out? So almost all our property, apart from those which are like in Jodhpur or something where monuments are there, all our properties, they have a range of activities, a range of paid activities and a range of complementary activities. Complementary activities are like you have birding, you have trekking, you have village walks. So depending on the location, we have mentioned on our website, every place has a set of activities, so the user did not go anywhere outside. Then the place is it's located near mountain, waterfall, riverside. So our properties, we have places which has a waterfall inside the campus. So you're like, this is your room and you can walk 5 minutes and you have a water which is private. So we have like properties like that. Then the properties which have rivers inside the campus and they have water streams and mountains. So they're completely offbeat. They are not in the town or in the city. I'll say it is remote, more or less remote. Yeah. And in most of our properties, the owners live there itself. So it's not a homestay. Like it's not that I have suppose a 3-bedroom house and 1 bedroom is vacant, so I'll give it to the guest. They built the entire property, but they have their own house which is next to it. So the experience which the guest get is very personal. The hosting is very personal. Safety, hygiene, all that is completely taken care of, because when the owner is living there, the quality in itself will be very good. then we personally visit every property. So that's the highlighting factor, that without personally visiting a stay, we do not onboard it on our platform. So after personally visiting, it means safety, hygiene, comfort, and the fun elements, all that is taken. And initially, I personally visited almost 100 properties myself, and most of them were solo traveling. So when I am visiting solo, and there are a lot of other team members who have done solo traveling to these properties, women, so it is safe for any other solo women to travel. So we often get this question that is it safe? Because people, when we tell them it's local architecture, first of all, they think it must be mud house and some leaking mud houses, and so that's a lot of negative things are there in people's mind, which we have gradually been able to change. 2019, the situation was very different. We always had to at least spend 15-20 minutes in answering to the queries which the guest had about the location. They're not able to draw an image of it. Now that is much better. Now we don't need to do that anymore because of the change in the market and the behavior pattern and a lot of other things. But yeah.
Is there any international body which kind of certifies hotels or properties in the hotel industry, or is it like your self-certification which you do on set of criteria? How do you go about this thing? And I mean, I think your property is also associated with green buildings. So, like, do you think that property should be a green building certified or something like that? Can you elaborate it more?
So, so there are a lot of international bodies, especially based out of Europe, which does certification for hotels as well as green buildings. In India also, we have this Griha Council. Honestly speaking, I don't believe in certifications because I believe that the user should be able to certify. Who am I, or who is the agency to tell the? We all know the reality of the different kind of licenses and certifications which are given, not just in India, even internationally. So, so they charge you for certifying you. I mean, you actually pay them to say that, okay, give us your certification. Now, where can be, when we visit our property, we don't even take free accommodation and food because we don't want to be burdened with their favor or their obligation. We want to be independent to decide that we want to onboard your property on our platform or not. So we have rejected many properties after visiting them, after spending our money, not theirs. So for the concept of certification is what I don't connect with, and that's why we do, and that's the reason why we also like a lot of people told me that why don't you give certification, because you're doing almost a similar kind of work. I said, who am I to tell that person that do this or don't do this? If that local person, he knows the local atmosphere the best, he knows his budget, he knows what it is there in his capacity. So whatever they do, if I have a suggestion, I'll surely share with them. But I cannot say that, okay, if you meet these 10 measures, then we'll give you this level of certification. That's what happens during the certification process. So there are very, like, a lot of agencies, if I don't want to name them, but there are many agencies and there are many travel companies which take trust certification from them. And they're mostly premium ones because they can afford to do that. The genuine, I have examples, like I know properties which are so genuinely working on sustainable tourism, and they all are local. They cannot afford to spend money on such big agencies. They cannot afford to have that logo, or that logo, they cannot pay that amount. So we don't believe in certification, and we believe in customers' experience. If the customer is happy, then that is the certification.
Absolutely, Prerna. I mean, I totally agree with you, because doesn't really make sense of having some false certification as well. I mean, considering the lot of greenwashing is also happening. Like, I could claim myself to be a green hotel or eco hotel, but I could be doing something rubbish, right? So it is more about people going there and express and seeing themselves. But I mean, so like conventional hotel will claim that they have free Wi-Fi or a conference facility or some stuff like that. So your hotels, your property, do they have anything specific which they kind of highlight for their customers?
I think the points which we highlight for the customers, one is the experience of living in a local house. So living in a mud house, people living in cities don't have access to it, and they have lost their ancestral houses also, which were actually used to be made of mud, wood, stone. So we are just trying to return to the roots. There's nothing new. Returning to the roots with the modern technology, the modern facilities, a good washroom, a hygienic place, no leaking houses, of course, and the Wi-Fi. So don't worry on the Wi-Fi. All our places have Wi-Fi because we can't live without it. We know the value. I mean, it has become an integral part of our life. So we can't live without that. There are places which are in deep forest. They especially got like lease line put by spending a lot of money onto it, but the customers need it, so you have to provide it. So that is there. But the highlight of the place is experiencing living in a local house and getting to eat the local food. Where do you get right now when I'm coming from Ranikhet in Uttarakhand, every day we used to pluck, someday we are plucking pears, someday we are plucking golden apples, someday we are having some other variety of apple, and the taste was the most amazing one. So that is the experience which you get at any of our properties. The experience of, I remember in Goa, we have a lovely property which is completely cut off from the main world, and it has a waterfall. So the moment like you're bored or you had your food, you can just walk to the waterfall and spend your time looking at it or taking bath into it with nobody disturbing you. So we have those kind of natural experiences where only the nature is there and you are there. Nobody is disturbing you. And we also we expect the user to respect that. We don't want, so when you ask that aspect for a responsible tourist, so we want the user to come and respect that valuable nature and not maybe start playing a heavy loud music and littering around and doing party in a nonsense manner. You can do party but play soft music and don't disturb the surrounding or don't litter it. So there are a lot of interesting, and living with nature in itself is an experience. I mean, it's not about just clicking pictures with beautiful backdrops. It is sitting there and spending time.
You hit the nail on the head, Prerna. Yeah. So how are people reacting to your concept, to your platform, and how was it different pre-COVID and post-COVID? How I mean, the things which you have seen?
It's I think it was completely flip-flop because pre-COVID, as I mentioned, we had to explain to everybody what we are doing, why we are doing, what will they get there, how is it different, and then it was like we're convincing people. Now it's like people know the value of nature because for 2 years they were locked inside their houses. They want to go to nature, they want to go for alternative accommodations, even though they don't know much about a place, they're still interested because they want to live close to nature. They don't want to go to places which are crowded, so they will not like to go to Manali, they want to go to GB. They will not like to go to maybe Ooty, they would like to go to Chikmagalur. So that shift has happened completely, and I can see in the number of queries which we are getting, and our marketing is still the same. So we don't do paid marketing. We have done organic marketing till now completely. So pre-COVID, if we are getting maybe 1 query a day, right now we get 30 queries a day. So with same set of situation. So I think there is a huge shift in the market, and now we don't need to explain anything to anybody. We just need to tell them that, okay, these are the facilities available.
Kudos to you guys that you have established this platform, and all the best to you that you expand to with a lot more customers. So coming to customers, and I mean, can you share some numbers like how many users are there in your platform, your financials if possible, number of properties which you have currently? So can you share some numbers around it?
Yeah, so we have around 170 plus around 200 properties which are personally listed and verified, which are listed on the platform. We have around 1,000 properties which we have shortlisted within India, and for which the verification is on the process. And now we are doing crowdsourced verification, so it's no longer personal visit by me or my team member. It's in a different way. We are also trying to expand abroad, so we have collaborations in Europe, South Asia. In terms of the numbers in India, in the first quarter post-COVID, we sent around 135 customers in these first 3 months. The conversion rate was almost, I can say, around 30%, which was very, very high. Why? Because people were very clear where they want to go, and we are getting targeted customers. So, and then we have a repeat rate of 20%. The total revenue which we generated till now, the overall revenue from 2019 when we registered and started our operation, then in between the break was there, we have generated 50 lakhs of revenue. 6 lakh is the revenue which we generated in the last 3 months, and 11 lakhs was the revenue which we generated in 2019. So you can just compare, the entire year's revenue was 11 lakhs, and here within 3 months we have generated 6 lakhs. So I think, yeah, these are some of the numbers.
So what is the growth you are seeing month on month for the number of users, people who are opting for the eco properties?
So the growth post-COVID, especially after the lockdown opened up, it's been very high, almost 80%. So yeah, so it is. It may sound like a little weird, but today itself, like every 1 hour, we have a serious, and all the queries are targeted and serious, because we don't do marketing. We just do some Facebook post and LinkedIn post. That's it. And Insta also is like not very positive for us, so we are focused on Facebook and LinkedIn. And SEO for us has played very well. So we have not done paid SEO. We have done a strong content. If you check our website, it's a very unique content. Every single word is written by our team. So because of that unique content, I think the SEO has played a very important role in our marketing and getting us the sales which we're getting. The challenge now, there's one major challenge where we are a little stuck, is the live inventory management. So we don't want, right now we are doing manual conversion because we don't have the live inventory updated of all the properties. So for that, we are now focusing on raising funds, because we need money to invest in our technology, so that we can get the live inventory updated and then do the conversion very swiftly. Because right now I'm missing on the sales, because manually it is very tough to handle after a point of time. So we are getting the queries, but we are not able to answer to them. So that's I mean, that's such sometimes I think it's a good thing also, and sometimes it's so sad that I have a range of customers standing before me, but I don't have time to talk to them.
Correct. Absolutely. But you will get through it, because already the systems are in place. It's just that you have to connect to them, integrate with the existing inventory management solution, and you should be fine. So you alluded to your future plans that you want to go international as well. So in terms of number of properties, do you have any plans in mind? Like you want to reach 1,000 properties by year, something like that. So what is the big picture?
Of course, the first target would be India. So we already have 1,000 which are shortlisted. We have done the shortlisting. We are already in the process of visiting them. And so by the end of this year, which is 2022, we aim to connect to most of the properties in India. So at least be an established player within India. But this depends on the funding, of course, because without that, then your progress becomes slow. And then we also at the same time want to start doing the collaborations more and more with the international other countries, with the international eco hotels, and we'll have local partners in different hotels. So by next year we want to aggregate hotels from South Asia, and Europe we already have collaborations, so that we can integrate any day. So the day we have the funding and the team, where we can increase our team, we will immediately connect to the hotels from Europe and add it to our plan.
I mean, the idea behind the name Ecoplore.
This was like just at, I think, 2 or 3 o'clock in the night. I was thinking what name should I keep, and 2, 3 o'clock in the night, I just woke up and I discussed with my husband that I'll keep the name as Ecoplore. And why Ecoplore? Because exploring, I think exploration is one of the major part of any travel. You don't visit, you explore the place. And eco is, of course, like it's environment friendly. So combining the two words.
Yeah, ecotourism and exploring in an environment friendly way.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
Nice name. So tell me about your personal connection with nature and environment.
So my personal connection is to a level that my dream is to have a forest of at least 100 acres, maybe 1,000, to start with at least 100 acres, and original forest, not a planted forest. So the idea is to protect the original forest which nature has given. And there's a huge difference between a planted forest and the original one. So the idea is to buy at least 100 acres forest, have it in my personal thing, and protect it till I'm alive. So that is a level of connection I have with nature. Like I find myself, I connect myself the best with nature, not with any human being, not with my parents or my husband or even my friends. Like I can actually connect the best with nature.
Excellent. I mean, your love for the nature is kind of being there, visible for all of us, that you have started this beautiful initiative. So all the best, Prerna, for this initiative. I'm sure you will reach all the success, and a lot of customers, a lot of people like me will come to Ecoplore and visit your properties. So thanks a lot for making this, and thanks a lot for this discussion.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the session.
It was a pleasure talking to you.
Same here.